I'm Ed, I'm an alcoholic. Sorry, I haven't got my razor. But you usually say on this deal, if you want to speak, raise your hand. So I didn't bring my razor to do that. But I'll speak anyway. What? I'm Ed, I'm an alcoholic. Wow. The first thing that I learned in the last few weeks is that I haven't been keeping up and thinking of stuff I don't have to read. And in the fourth edition, it says, in the fourth edition, forward to the fourth edition. Man, oh man. In any meeting, anywhere, AA share experience, strength, and hope with each other in order to stay sober and help other alcoholics. Modem to modem, or face to face. AA speak the language of the heart in all its power and simplicity. Holy smokes! I didn't even know what a modem was in 2001 when this came out. You young people are so damn much smarter than me. I don't know. I've got to keep it simple. The only way I can do it. And one of the things that happened before I became an alcoholic, I was over at my friend's place, and a fellow came to buy some product off of us. And he says, "Which one of you donkeys belongs to AA?" What? How do you know? Well, one of you dizzy yahoos has got an Easy Does It sticker on the back of your car. I didn't even know what that was, and my friend had 5 years of sobriety at that time, and he really needed it. And how did I remember that? The next words he said, "I haven't had a drink in 22 years. And you know, alcohol is the best cleaning fluid in the whole world. It'll clean you out of house, home, job, wife, husband, family, freedom, your self-esteem, and even take your life." And my thought was, you poor guy. You spineless jellyfish. Can't you control your drinking? Oh my God. And all that other stuff he said about what will happen to you, all I could think of, you poor guy, you haven't had a drink in 22 years. Oh, that's not normal. 5 months later, I was out ice fishing, piled up a 4x4, and I had a good supply of stuff with me there to get me going. Homemade wine. I don't like rye. And I had a big bottle of Seagram's 83 rye and something else, and we were mixing it with the coffee without the fire. I didn't even auger a hole in the ice. I was out there to just drink. And that's the way it was. Whenever I went ice fishing, I made sure. And some of them stupid yahoos sometimes brought along their ice fishing stuff. I just wanted to make sure they had enough booze there. And that's the way it was. And here I wake up in the hospital 4 days later, vaguely. I've never been out for 4 days. But my back was broken in a couple of places, 4 ribs, a collapsed lung, a kidney torn off. And I heard the doctor say, when the selling goes down on Mr. B, we're going to take him back downstairs. He's going to be x-rayed. And he'll be in a full body, his 5th and 7th thoracic vertebra fractured. He'll probably be in a body cast for 8 months, and maybe he'll walk again. And all I could do, it seemed to me it was 4 in the morning. It really wasn't. It was the doctor making the rounds at 6, I guess. I don't know. And I knew where I was then, because it was all a dream for those 4 days. I've never had a feeling like that before that I can remember. I've had dreams, waking, sweating up in the morning with am I at home? I wonder where I went last night. Did I go do something? Did I bring the car home? Sneak out. Whose bed am I in? Am I at home? Yes. There she is, my little princess, sleeping there next to me. And here's this old drunk. I'm telling you, I didn't have alcoholism, I had assholism. I had rectilitis, a shitty outlook on life, and didn't care, didn't think it was really important. And the next time it'll be different. In our book, it tells us about the countless vain attempts. And I'll never do that again. And I had drinking thinking all the time. And I was disgusted. I started to cry laying there on that bed. And I hollered at the nurse, one of them in intensive care. Nurse, we come over here, roll up my bed, I'm gonna walk. I had tubes in my nose, one in the nose down below, and a tension pneumothorax in the right side. You can't, you've got a broken back. I'm a judge of my own condition. I'm gonna walk. So they cranked, back then they didn't buzz them up with electric motor or something. They cranked the bed up, and two nurses grabbed my feet and put them off on a little stool there. And all the Christmas trees, that's where I was on rollers, walked me down the intensive care room and back. And somehow, I don't know how I got back to lay down. I guess it was, and they were holding me, and the bed, the way it was up, got me back down. And I knew I was home. And I made a pact right there with that fellow I believe in. If you get me out of here without, I'll make a pact with you. That's it. That's the end of it. I was in the hospital for 3 weeks, and they let me go home. No cast, nothing. But boy, what a sore way to walk and try and lay down. The crushed ribs, the tension pneumothorax. There was so much blood they pulled out of there, it was shoving my heart over off center. Got to get that out of that part of your chest. That was the easy stuff. Then when I got home, I didn't like myself, full of shame, guilt, remorse. And I remembered what that fellow had told me, that it's a very good cleaning fluid. And when I got in the house, all my wife says, well, what are we going to do now? You've got an impaired charge. You're going to go to jail. You've had too many, 6 impaired charges already. I didn't go to jail yet, but I knew this was the one that's in the prison. And she says, you know, there's a fella here at Paul Lake, goes to meetings. Why don't you call him? What kind of meeting? AA meetings. Oh, I'll give him a call. Why don't you call him? She says. She didn't call him. God bless her that she wasn't an enabler anymore. Excuses and all the stuff that went on when I didn't get to work. Or when I smashed up snowmobiles. And all the rest of the stuff. I was just over 50 years when I got here. 50. The countless vain attempts to try and quit drinking was nuts. So I give this guy a call and I say, Morris, this is Ed B. I hear you go to those meetings. I couldn't even say AA. You know, you're green, you haven't talked of AA. That's you're in so much denial. The denial of delusion, deluding yourself. I'm not really an alcoholic. It's just that once in a while I drink too much. I don't get into trouble every time I'm drinking. But every time I was in trouble, I've been drinking. He takes me to that first meeting. He says, you might know a lot of people here at Benetton Lake. The little school trailer outside of town, about 35 miles. And we lived at Paul Lake, so I had to go 10 miles from where we lived up the road a little further to. It was in this, my God, we walk in a trailer? There's little sandboxes and chairs, the kindergarten room. Oh my God. Shut up, Ed. Just keep yours. Don't open your mouth. Is this what I'm going to have to do the rest of my life? Sit on these little chairs? And I could hardly sit down. My back was so damn sore yet. And the guy there says, welcome. Don't try and get AA. Let AA get you. What the hell do you mean? What do you mean? I haven't had a drink in 19 years, that guy says. I thought, you poor guy. You spined another one of these spineless jellyfish that can't control their liquor. And he looked all good and everything. Don't try and get AA. Let AA get you. Then he says, I can't. We can. I think I'll let you. And that's what happened from there. I got to meet the next flight with another fellow from downtown. I had to go downtown for that. That was the start of our life. That second edition big book has that absent-minded professor in there. We had to die to live. We had to get sick to get well. We have to give it away to keep it. And we have to surrender to win. And there's all the paragraphs after that. And man, did that ever hit with me when I read all that stuff. And then the reason I got to reading that, I couldn't read Bill's story. I'm not talking about somebody else. I'm in trouble. I'm going to jail. I got to find out what I can do that I don't go to jail and I don't lose my job. Oh, man. All that good stuff that I was thinking that I had to control. There I was going. You know what? I think in the first 8 months, the only thing that changed was my breath. I still had the same disillusion, the delusion that we can think like, drink like other people. Not that other stuff. None of that other stuff. Denial is just a liar. Didn't even know I am lying. And I found that out later on, that was just a symptom. Bottles were only a symptom. And in another place there, they want me to read the first 164 pages. Get your mother to read that big book. I'm going to read the stories in there. And there in the second edition of that book was where Dr. Bob led me through all these steps. There was only 6 steps in the book at that time, and it's in the 4th edition. They've got her back in there now. And that guy in there said something that hit me after about a month and a half of going to meetings and trying to read the stories and just the stories. I'll get all that other stuff. And my God, I don't even have to read before chapter 5. They read about rarely anything of written and all that stuff. Let's get to the good stuff. I got to hear these stories. Oh my God. Then I found out it's a damn disease that makes me think I don't have a disease. A feeling that I'm not an alcoholic. It's just that once in a while I drink too much. All that goofy stuff going on. And this fella, I said to him, Vern, when you had your impaired charge and you went to prison, did you do a step 4 and 5? He says, yeah, of course I did. And I'd go and see him the next day. It was a Friday night meeting. And I'd go and see him the next day where he worked, because I was off work. I was back to work by then, all married already. I was off work 3 months. Then they believed me enough that I was ambulatory enough to do what I had to do. I didn't have horseshoes up my butt. I had a golden horse. Everything was going my way, and all I had to do was stop starting. And I was quitting all the time before, and I'd tell everybody, you know, I hadn't had a drink in 5 days. There it was, my drinking thing, over and over and over, and planning what we were going to do on weekends. Oh, my God. We had a slide-in camper, and on weekends we'd go out. It'd have to be the big square box of wine with a spout on the bottom. And amaretto for my wife, and I like scotch. I'm going to get a couple of cases of beer in case we have somebody come over to our trailer when we're out there camping. And by the Friday night, I'd be hiring a kite because we're out once we got into the bush and we take our fishing stuff. I was too hungover to go fishing the next day. Over and all that nice stuff. That was the way it was. We were married when I got in the program, just over. I'd like to say that it hasn't been necessary for me to drink since April the 17th, 1954. And I made that mistake at a talk one time. I says, "Hey, you liar, that's our wedding date." And that's what it is. I came in 29 years later into the program. But anyway, this was a lot of fun going out there fishing. I remember when I fuddled up and crackling rosé and all that other stuff was good stuff to drink. I don't know why, just to have it. You could have crackling rosé and all the singing and all the junk when we're out there whoopee partying. And we're out there, we stopped to go to bed and our fifth wheel slide in. We're going to go into bed. And I said, "Damn it, I wish we'd have put that bottle of rosé in ice. Then we could drink it." She says, "Oh, bring me that bottle." Twisted that wire off of it, shoved on that plastic cork they had. And then, of course, it was warm. She has to put her hand on top of it. And the rest of the bottle, down to about a quarter of an inch left, sprayed all over hell, all over this red crap, all over, painted inside our fifth wheel, our camper. Things like that. We thought we were having fun over and over. So we had 29 years. I don't know why we didn't kill each other or what. I remember trying to cross-country ski, just learning how to ski one weekend, drinking like hell. And we're out there on the cross-country ski trail. And it went and coincided real close to the downhill. And I see these guys, and I'm half cut. And I see them coming down the hill and choom, choom, and bounce their legs together, coming down there like Halley's Comet. I said, "Well, what the hell? I can do the same as that. I just pronged my way out onto the course. I can put my legs close together like that, and I'm heading downhill, and cross-country skis flap like heck. The front of them starts to go, it goes, and they dug in the snow, and I flipped right over on my back, and I made a plowing cut down the place. And we were Max, the burgers, the German fella. And he says, "Edwin, I saw you two coming down that place with your cross-country skis. I thought you were going to break your back. And then you got up and two guys almost hit you when you stood up with your glasses full of snow and everything." Oh, my God. If anybody else did to me what I did to myself, I'd have to shoot them. Nobody grabbed me and threw me on the floor and poured the booze into me. And there in that kindergarten room is 10 little 2-letter words. If it is to be, it is up to me. Only you alone can do it, but you can't do it alone. There it is again. Here's all the things help me out to do what I'm supposed to do. I kept going to meetings, and there was that court case coming off on July the 8th. And that morning, I couldn't sleep all night. Worry, anger, self-pity, depression, disgusted. I wasn't worth living. When I go to court today, they're going to put the cuffs on me and take me right out to jail for 6 months on that impaired. I get up that morning and I'm thinking, I won't be in this house for 6 months. Poor me. We've been together now for damn near 30, well, it was just over 30 years at the time then. She grabs me by the ear, pulls me into the bedroom and says, "Look in the mirror. Tell that guy in the mirror he's a good guy. Tell him he's a good guy and smile." I hypocritically smiled. And you know, I did another prayer that I learned from you people. All of them. Everything that I learned. Even though we went to church, and we still do today, I had to get cut down to size. I was entirely ready to do whatever you people wanted me to do, and it worked. I'm praying that morning. I go into, as we're going in to the court, I don't know what happened, but I just asked, Lord, whatever happens, may it turn out best for all concerned. I went in at 9 in the morning. Cop was doing his deal of saying whatever, and I looked at him. I'm right next to him, and he's standing there at the podium, and he's reading from a book with nothing on it. He had a court case put off for 8 months. He said, well, Mr. B, when I showed up at the Miracle, he was standing outside the vehicle, and he was incoherent. You knew he was drunk and all blah, blah, blah. And I just stood up right next to him, and I said, you're a fucking liar. Order in court, or you'll be whatever. Hey, lawyer pulled me down. You pull another thing like that, and you're going to find out. It went on all morning. And then what came up was when they took the blood sample. The blood sample was taken at 4:30 in the afternoon. I didn't get into the hospital till 6:30, and that's where it was taken. The doctor who took it had the wrong time on it. Well, there it was, the writing on the wall. They tried for another hour and a half after that with all their stuff. And they finally said, would the accused, Ed B., please rise? I don't know why I'm doing this, not guilty. I almost fell on my face. And you know what that cunning, baffling, powerful, sneaky, impatient stuff said? Son of a gun, you beat him again. You can go back. What? What? I'm walking down the hall with my lawyer. And he says, well, are you going to go and have a drink? I said to him, and it wasn't nice what I said, I wouldn't give you a pinch of something crap for a boxcar load of booze. I've had it. I'm so glad I don't have to do any of that anymore. And now I've got that big cross off my back and going into jail. I've been going into prison for over 30 years, every Wednesday, and on Fridays, taking 4 people out of minimum security to meetings outside to see what it's like to live on the outside. Done a lot of work in the jail, and my wife and I have done alcohol awareness courses over 12 years, twice a year, 1 week, 3, all that. That's stuff you do because you want to do it. And our life has been so much better since then. Some of the neatest things that have happened to us since all this has happened, I don't know where to start. A lot of our friends that we had when I was drinking still are our friends. I remember by 1988, some people that lived north of Kamloops were coming to our place at Paul Lake to stay for the weekend. And I said to Ricky, because I was told right away in the first few days, get all the booze out of your house, because the first time you get mad at Ricky, you're going to go and get drunk. I had a Haig and Haig bottle of Pinch on the fire, on the mantle on the fireplace, and I had it up there. And it was there, but I never thought of it. If I get mad, I'll go and drink that. There was an instance after I was home for 2.5 weeks, the dishwasher quit. I didn't know whether I'm going to lose my job, go to jail, get fired, or what. I'm not going back to work yet. I'm too crippled up. And I thought, I'll show her when she said, we got to get this washer fixed. There's something wrong with it. And I thought, Jesus, only the two of us here. We can do all this washing ourselves. Can't you see? We don't know how we're going to be sitting. And any time an alcoholic's in trouble, it's money, job, or women, or all three. And so I just thought, I'll show her. I'm going to go. What? I'll show her I'm going to go and get drunk, is what I thought. I hadn't talked to anyone on that. That was 2 weeks after getting out of the hospital. And I knew, you know what? I think I was scared. I think I was scared for a whole year. I know I was scared for a whole year. I knew I had to go to meetings. I couldn't trust myself. I had to pray like heck. And about 4 months into the program, I knew that I'm going to do the 3rd step prayer and the 7th step prayer every morning. There was a time I'm up in the morning when I'm going to work already, and she's sitting there and she's make me breakfast, bacon and eggs and coffee, and my lunch for the briefcase, all that stuff that you need when you're going to work. I was a pit bull in the engineering department I was in, and that was the watchdog that goes out to check everything. I had 3 or 4 contracts that morning. And when you're drunk, you have to do everything right. Or an alcoholic. So you want to meet everyone when you can. And there I am. Finished the 3rd step prayer and the rest of the stuff that we did in the morning. And I get up and I head over to the door, pick up my briefcase, and I'm all bent over. And she says, "Oh, I see the big guy's too busy today. You got to help him pack the load." And I thought, you little brat. And when I went by the door and waved at her, going out and smiling, remember, let him have it, pointing up. I remember the months before I was in the program and I was hungover and going to work. I didn't get that finger. I got that finger while I was heading for work. Wow, what a change in our life. All these neat things that happen once it was so simple. I can't. He can. I think I'll let him. I'll get back to that Peggy and Lauren coming there. I think it's about 8 years sober or something. They come to visit us. We cross-country skied with them. We cross-country skied with their twin daughters that were our headache. 2 redheads and all these men after them. They called us Uncle Eddie and Auntie Ricky. And they wanted us to take them to Hawaii and all that. I'm telling you, our life has been a gas on all the stuff we've done. But so anyways, here I am. They come to visit us. And I said to Ricky that day, 8 years into the program, we don't have a damn broad drop of booze here in the house. Can't trust it or whatever. I think I'll pick some up on the way home tonight. I get home and I'd forgot to pick it up. I wasn't going to go into a liquor store because somebody might see me in that small town account. Oh, Eddie B's back to drinking or whatever they'll think. Oh, I'm childish, emotionally sensitive, and grandiose as hell. Heads in the beer in the liquor store or whatever. Anyways, I got home and it worried me. And they showed up in our yard park. They had their motorhome with them. And Peggy and Lauren walk in. And I said, "Lauren, Peggy, I don't have a damn drop of booze in this house." Because she liked amaretto. And he liked white wine. Well, before, come on, that's what it was. They were married about 1 or 2 years longer than us. And here they are visiting. We live on the side of the lake. And we caught fish while they were there the next 3 days like crazy. But Peg that night says, "Ed, if I come to visit you at your place and I smoke, is it necessary for you to supply me with cigarettes?" That's it. You don't drink? They were great with it. When they left, they had come down for the weekend to stay at our place to stay off the booze. They both had doctor's appointments in Kamloops. on Monday and they wanted a better report instead of having booze all over. The little brats. Anyways, our life kept going like that and on and on. I'll tell you, we did a lot of traveling and we ran into a lot of people. And it got to where I needed a fifth wheel. So we got a 30-foot fifth wheel and we started traveling south. Oh my God. By 1992, we're on the road every winter. From October, get home in April, get home either just before tax season or what have you. We were traveling along before the fifth wheel, real early in our sobriety, and we're heading for Alaska, only a 3-day trip, a 3-week trip. And I'm north of Prince George at Chetwynd, and just past Chetwynd is some waterfalls that I hadn't been into. So I said to Ricky, why don't we walk into those waterfalls? We got to look at stuff. You know, we're not around cameras. And she says to me, yeah, let's go look. By then, I had a Easy Desert in the back window of the fifth wheel, and one day at a time over one brake light, and forget what, another one on the other side. They're just the little thin ones. And we walk in and look at them waterfalls, and we're having one heck of a good time. And our little dog is with us. And we're coming back, and they're sitting on our tailgate, was down, was a girl sitting on it with her feet up and crying. And when she said, is this your rig? I said, yes, honey, what's the matter? You're in the program, aren't you? And I need a hug. I'm from California. And I took the wrong road out of Vancouver. I ended up over in Lillooet and then another back road. And please tell me I'm on the go. I want to get on the Alaska Highway. Well, we had to go inside and we had a meeting inside the trailer and coffee and everything. And that's the way oh God, wherever. Another trip up north on Highway 37. I'm fishing at Tatoga Lake and out on Editajon. And a fella comes up to me who runs those and tells me, he says, there's a good lake up in the bush 7 miles over there. You got the sliding camper. You don't even take your boat with you. They got him there at Elu Lake. My cousin is one of my good friends. Just tell her you know me at Tatoga Lake. And that was it. So we headed in there. We get up there and there's a big cable across the road. You can't get in. You can't get at the boats. You can't do nothing. So I head past that place about half a mile and thought we'd go and see. And then the road is blocked off about 4 miles up. Well, we'll go back. Can't go fishing. And on our way up, I went through a meadow. And there's a native North American laying back with coveralls, a double-barrel shotgun over his arm, and mouth wide open. And he's snoring away. So I just cripply crawled by the side of him, got around him, headed up. And on the way back, I thought, oh shit, I got to go buy that trailer again. And I look, and out in the meadow comes this big FBI, flipping big Indian, with a hexagon rifle over his shoulder. And he's walking slow. Well, I'm not going to try and slide by him this time. I'll just park behind him and wait till he goes or whatever. And I'm sitting there and I look in my rear view mirror and I see him coming up behind me. And an arm comes in the window and says, welcome, brother. My name is Jim Alcoholic. What's yours? And I look and he says, you've got that Easy Does It sticker on the back. And I says, there's going to be a big roundup early in August, another 7 days from now. I'm going to that thing out at Alkali Lake next week. Oh, I'm from down in Vancouver. I go pick lots of big saplings, and I'm going to make a teepee when we're out there. We're going to have sweat lodge out there. So I got into American North American sweats, and what have you. I just got a big bag of it yesterday, and is it ever good to stuff from another one from another area where they're safe? I'm telling you, I gotta live till I'm 120 to try and get even with all these, people like that. There's a story in the big book, Join the Tribe. And if you read that, it's in the third edition on page 440, 477. And it says in there, right, the last thing he says, to Indians I say, I hear white man go Indian if he drinks too much. If so, AA full of Indians, join the tribe. And I'm going to stay in the herd and keep doing this that I'm doing now. The doctors in the back of our fourth edition big book tell us, we don't know why AA works, but it's something that works. I think it's the herd instinct. So stay in the herd. Stay in the herd. You go out on the side if you're out in the African desert. That little guy wants to get some better grass out on the side. The lion or the tiger or something gets it. I go to Alkali Lake and they say, stay in the crowd. Stay in the crowd. The wolves will get you. So the same as we have here. Oh, this was more fun that we've had. The herd syndrome. That delusion that we think, I can say I've got a disease that makes me think I don't have a disease. Who the? It took about 4 years ago that I'm so glad that I got that gift of desperation. God, am I glad that I got cut down to size. And that's in the big book too. Now there is things that we have gone through in our marriage since we're married. There's been rough spots, but a lot of good and positive things. My wife is going to teach her. She's conducting a choir, and she was leaving at 7 for her 8 o'clock meeting on a Wednesday night. And two of the boys I sponsored wanted to go to a meeting, and they were going to pick me up so that we could have a talk and not all meet over there at where we were going. But I'm waiting for them to come for the 8 o'clock meeting. And I get a call. Honey, I'm okay, but I totaled the car. I'm okay. I'm in a merge. This is in, what year was it? 2009? 10?
2009.
That was after we were at Whitehorse? Or did we go after?
Before White House, we went to Whitehorse when Jenny died.
Oh, anyways, I'm telling you, I got crap. Can't remember a flippin' thing. CRAFT. Anyway, so I said, we got to go up. Ricky's in a merge. The two guys knew my wife well. These guys are just, 8 months sober, and one guy 4 years sober. Some of my babies. We get up there. She's sitting in the merge and says, there's nothing wrong with me, nothing wrong with me. The car's totaled and ran into a hydro pole. She had blacked out. They weren't going to let her go home. We got to check her out better. Her blood pressure's way over 240. To blow a stack or have a brain aneurysm or what have you, just like a hose when it explodes. Or seeing I had industrial first aid and all the rest. So anyways, they said she won't be getting in there to be seen, Mr. B, until about 11. The car's totaled, so I'm there with my pickup truck to take her home. And after the meeting, I'll go up there and see what's happening. I go in there, and we're sitting in there. And at 12:30, finally, she's in the, what do you call it? In the, where they look you over and all that, when they take you in afterward. And there's all the places are closed. And it says, you can wait with her right in there. We're going to have to do some more x-raying on her. Blood pressure isn't going down. And at 1 in the morning, April the 1st, the doctor comes by and says, we were joking and wondering what the heck we're going to do the next day and all that, because she seems okay. And he says, "You have a large brain tumor on the right side of your head. I'm sorry." And she says to him, "I know why you're sorry. I'm the one with the brain tumor." I hit the floor right next there to her on my knees and grabbed her hands. And all I could do is say, and I don't know where I got the help for that. "Oh Lord, you are here. Free us from angst, anxiety, frustration, despair. May it turn out best for all concerned." She was going to be staying in the hospital. I'm going home that night by myself. "Honey, look after Benji, our little dog that we have." And she's ringing about a dog, and she's there with a brain tumor. I get home and I walk in the house at 1:30 in the morning. He's got a brain tumor. I'm going to have to phone all our 32 relatives, the ones in the States and all over at that time, to let them know that it's something really fierce. My son asking me, "How was your talk?" I'm talking too much. He's just on the phone. I'll get a stone and rock him to sleep. That's what I'll. No, he's 65 years old. Anyways, so I go home. I walk in the house, and the first thing that I say, I haven't changed one bit. I look at our cathedral entrance. I look and I say, "Oh my God, I'm going to have to vacuum." Oh shit, all them clothes she's got and all them shoes, all that stuff. She's not going to, maybe she might not come home. And I'm going to have to cook and wash clothes. You selfish, self-centered ass. I started to cry and I hit the bedroom and got on my knees. And I just said, "Lord, please forgive me. Show me the way." And I felt okay. I don't know how to explain that, guys. I prayed and something happened. Whatever happened. One, what is the worst thing that can possibly happen? Two, be ready to accept it. Three, do your very best to improve on it. I can't. He can't. I think I'll let him. And I learned that at my first meeting. This was in 2000. 55 years married. We're 60, 11 years ago. And I know the year now. I know we were married 55 years at the time, in April the 17th that same year. I took her in there with April Fools. April 1st is when I found out she had it. And a little French prick doctor 3 days later says, "I can take it out." Scared the hell out of me. What? They're going to cut into her head and take that thing out? I'm going to have big breakfast that morning, he says. Going to be long operation. Two of the doctors that I sponsor wouldn't leave me alone. They were on me like shit to a blanket. They want to give me something to keep. They thought I might go. I don't know what the hell they're thinking. The big guy had all in control. I can't. He can't. Let him. We've got prayers for that. We've got all that stuff. What do? I call all my relatives. They say, "Oh, so sorry. Them two boys were with me and others for I don't know how long. Every day. They wouldn't leave me alone." When I say boys, I mean you guys. This is the greatest organization in the universe. For all of us. I don't care how you take it. I know where I belong. And I can talk to you the way I am. I don't know you, but you know me, and I know you. We've got all these feelings. We can do this. A week later, they took that brain tumor out. I walk in after the operation at 3 p.m. And they say, "Oh, Mr. B, she's still in the operating room." Oh, just a minute. It was 3 p.m. And she started at 7, and there it was, 3 p.m. she's not out yet. And I said, oh, she's just coming out now. And there I see that doctor. When I looked around the corner, he looks like he had a butcher sheet on the front of him. Blood was all over it. Scan good is all he said. And the nurses told me in ICU, you go home, do what you have to, come back tomorrow morning. 9 the next morning at ICU. And, oh, Mr. B, you're here. And I hear. There were 3 things these doctors told me. She'll die, she'll come back paralyzed, she'll come back with no memory, and you know the rest. Paralyzed on one side, she might not see or nothing. There was other things that happened right after that. When I got there at 9 in the morning, she says, hi, honey, did you feed Benji? What the hell? She has her mind, and she uses her right hand. They told me she might be lose the use of one side. So I know that works. The turban on her head was like a big, I don't know, there, like a stack. And she put her left hand behind her ear. Don't touch that, that's your head. It's itchy here. They say, well, you've had 10 minutes with her. Now you can go home and do what you have to do. Feed Benji, she says again. Jesus. She worries more about that dog than me. I get back at 2 in the afternoon and she's not in the ICU. Oh my God. Oh, Mr. B, she's not here anymore. We had to move her. Oh my God, my heart sinks. She's up on the 6th floor. She's doing very well. I go to the 6th floor. I don't know where to walk to find her. Remember, she just had this big operation. And I'm walking down the hall find out at the unit there, the nurses, and I hear 2 women singing. I listen. One voice I don't know, the other one is my princess. I don't have to ask there. I know where she's singing. And I stopped, and there's water there. I'm crying. The floor is covered with it. And they're singing Mare's Edotes and Nosy Dotes and Little Lambs and all old time, cruising down all that. So she's got a long time ago memory, everything. Everything's working out. I can't. He can. I think I'll let him. And I know if I keep on talking like this, you guys are going to, if I keep doing what I'm doing, I'm going to have to get a checkup from the neck up and keep me from fouling them. There is something that I would like to read to you guys that we have in our program, and I need it. The Man in the Glass. You've heard of him. When you get what you want in your struggle for self, and the world makes you king for a day, just go to the mirror and look at yourself and see what that man has to say. For it isn't your father or mother or wife whose judgment upon you must pass. The fellow whose verdict counts most in your life is the one staring back from the glass. He's the fellow to please, never mind all the rest, for he's with you clear to the end, and you've passed your most difficult, dangerous test if the man in the glass is your friend. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ed. Thank you so much. That was fantastic. Thank you. Now, Ed, is your wife there with you?
Right here.
So can we say hello to her?
You sure can, honey.
Hi, how you doing?
Wait a minute.
Oh, you got to turn off the video on her. Okay.
No, I don't. No, I don't. I touched it. I can't get it on. Get it to talk. I'll tell you what a scoundrel I was. The way that young food. I can't get on again.
Well, that's okay. We can hear you.
Can you?
Yeah, we can hear you okay. So we want to say hello, and we also want to find out, did Ed make any mistakes in that talk? Did he misquote anything?
No, he did a very good job, and I'm proud of him. I'm Ricky, and I'm an alcoholic, and I'm also a member of Al-Anon, thank God. I am so grateful for these programs because Eddie and I have had a life that we couldn't have dreamed of. And being able to work together instead of against each other is a blessing. Even in this COVID thing, each day we say a prayer, sometimes by ourselves, sometimes together. But God is always with us, and we know that He helps us. And we do this thing one day at a time. That way we can get through it. And we know that God is here and is also with our friends. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. We so appreciate your coming on and making a few comments. We also appreciate your auditing Ed's talk and to find out that everything he said was absolutely correct. So we appreciate that. We haven't had an edited talk before, so that's fantastic. So let me just first let me just say, if anybody would like to share, you can put your hand up in the participants box, and we'll start getting hands up. But before we do that, let's go to my buddy Tom Wicks. And Tom is going to pick a reading for us from the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. You're okay, Tom. You're unmuted. Based on Ed's share. Tom.
Thank you, Ed, so much. Before I start, I want to share that The Man in the Glass was probably given to me back in 1972, and I read that and I was stunned. Because the day I come in the program, I was going to shave, which I didn't do every day. And I picked my head up and I looked in the mirror, and I was terrified at the face that looked back at me. In that same day, I went to my first AA meeting. So The Man in the Glass is so real to me. I picked out, Ed, 3 readings to do, and they're reasonably short, that I think were a piece of either your story and or what you shared as you were going along. On page 31, despite all we say, many who are real alcoholics are not going to believe they are in that class. By every form of self-deception and experimentation, they will try to prove themselves exceptions to the rule, therefore non-alcoholics. If anyone who is showing inability to control his drinking can do the right about face and drink like a gentleman, our hats are off to him. Heaven knows we have tried hard enough and long enough to drink like other people. And then I went back to, as I was listening, hi, Pat. I got your picture back. That's good. So I went back to page 157. And it talks about the state that I was in when I came here. And I guess what, Ed, you got to also. Hopelessness was written large on the man's face as he replied, "Oh, but that's no use. Nothing would fix me. I'm a goner." The last 3 words, I got drunk on the way home from here. I'm afraid to go out of the door. I can't understand it. And again, for me also was that plight of the very, very end. And the last part is from page 50. Here are thousands of men and women, worldly indeed. They flatly declare that since they have come to believe in a power greater than themselves, to take a certain attitude towards that power and to do certain simple things, there has been a revolutionary change in their way of living and thinking. In the face of collapse and despair, in the face of total failure of their human resources, they found that a new power, peace, and happiness and sense of direction flowed into them. This happened as soon after they wholeheartedly met a few simple requirements. One, confessed and baffled by the seemingly fruitfulness of existence, they showed the underlying reasons why they were making heavy going of life. And then the last part of it was, when many hundreds of people are able to say that the consciousness of the presence of God is today the most important fact of their lives, they present a powerful reason why one should have faith. So thank you both for sharing. And thank you, Ed, for being with us. And I love being in AA with you all. Thanks for asking me, Joe.
You're welcome, Tom, and thank you for great selections. Okay, again, go to the participants if you'd like to share, and let's start out with Matt in New York City. Matt, you're unmuted.
Hey, thanks, Matt Alcoholic. That was amazing. And this is like really late. I don't know how I'm going to bed after that, but I really, really enjoyed his qualification. I really, really heard AA. And I'm a big fan of love. I came in here wanting love, wanting to be loved. And it turns out I found it, but it was in myself. It wasn't with somebody else. It had to come with me first. But one thing, he said so much stuff, but one thing he said in the very beginning, he was talking about with the fishing and the drinking. And I was thinking back, like I had corrupted, and I call it corruption, I had corrupted every good, nice activity in my life. I'm a big hockey player. I played all over this country, and it's like I got to do those things, and I corrupted even that, even the simplest, purest things in my life. And I couldn't do any activity without a drink or a drug in me. And I'll just finish with this, because there's a lot of people here, and I see a lot of newcomers. I don't really pay attention to the chat, and I see a lot of things going. But one thing that caught my eye, someone said they're going to rehab tomorrow, Monday. Whoever that is, my heart's with you. Those decisions, those big changes, those are the things that like start the process of healing. And whenever I see that, it lights me up. And I love hearing AA. You know, I'm not a big fan of someone that preaches the book. I want to hear it in their life. And that's what I heard from Ed tonight. God bless you, Ed. God bless your wife. Amazing, amazing story. And considering how late it is, and this is like my third meeting of the day, the fact that I'm so interested, you had me hooked, man. You really pulled on my heartstrings. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Matt. And let's go to Liz. Liz at 6010.
Hi,
You're
everybody.
unmuted.
It's Lise. It's also
Please.
known as North Van Lise. I'm also known as Lisa G. And most frequently Lisa Gale, actually. And I'm definitely a real alcoholic. And I just really wanted to say how what I gleaned from Ed's talk is something that I know to be true. And it wasn't until I went to enough meetings and the little silver ball finally found that hole, and it just sunk when I had to come around the rooms and listen to the rap and the steps and the traditions and people's shares with eye rolling long enough until everything made sense. And for me, that took a long, 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 long time. And it took many series through the reading of the big book with other people that would normally mix in churches that made me feel uncomfortable. It took me a very, very long time to get my ID. But I really, really just wanted to share that from Ed's talk tonight, I gleaned, I can't, he can, I think I'll let him. And where I'm at in my life right now is I think I'll let him. It's one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. There's been an awful lot of preparation, not planning, but there's been a lot of preparation for the opportunity that could be life-changing for me. And I'm just going to take it for what it is. I'm going to keep doing what's in front of me, keeping my own house clean, literally and figuratively. And God's grace is bigger than this residential problem. Whatever the outcome will be in my favor, it's going to be in my favor. I know that for certain. But I can only know that with certainty because of my faith in a power greater than myself. It's not my thinking. Have a great rest of the meeting. I think I'll let him.
Thank you very much, Lisa. And let's go to Dale W. Dale, you're unmuted.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Just want to thank Ed and his wife, Ricky, for their fine talk tonight, or they call it the speaking. Some of it hit home with me in some ways. You know, I was a revolving door alcoholic, as I would say before, because I would go to meetings for a little bit. You know, I know this is probably getting a little off topic, but I'd go to meetings for a while, and then something would get me bored or something, and I'd go back out and come back to meetings, go back out. You know, I was like in and out of the program now. You know, thank goodness I stuck it out as long as I did for this last 8 years I've been in Alcoholics Anonymous. There's up to transition me away from drinking and being on the ready to be of service to anyone, anywhere, or even to the next suffering alcoholic in some way, shape, or form. So with that, I want to thank you all for letting me step in here and share, and I want to thank Ed and Ricky for their fine talk tonight, and y'all keep coming back. Dale, grateful alcoholic, right back to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dale. And let's go to the desert. Let's go to Tucson Billy. Tucson Billy. I think you got to unmute yourself, Billy. Now? Yeah, oh, you did have it. Try it again.
There we go. There we go. Thanks a lot, Ed. My name is Bill. I'm an alcoholic, and I enjoyed your talk very much. I especially enjoyed your the simplicity of the slogans and the things that we see when we first come into the fellowship, the things that I was able to follow when I first came in. And I especially, I'm a fisherman too, although shows what kind of brain I have. You shouldn't move to Tucson, Arizona, to the desert if you like fishing, because there's not much fishing in the desert. But I remember one of the last parts of my drinking, the last year, one of my friends said, I was a bass fisherman, New York State mostly. And one of the guys said to me, how's fishing this year? I said, I don't know, man. Fishing's really stunk this year. I haven't caught hardly anything. And that was because my car would get, and it was a Sloatsburg Inn on the way there, and it would pull into the Sloatsburg Inn automatically, and there's no fish in the Sloatsburg Inn. But lying to myself, it's always, well, what did you do yesterday? I went fishing. But that's not true. I spent the day in a bar. But I remember coming to one of my first AA meetings, and I saw that sign, but for the grace of God. And they had like AA, and Joe will remember this, at Park Ridge, they had but for the grace of God, and they had AA and but for the grace of God in the middle.